irreparable mistake. Meghan's greed for royal money sent Sussex into the bush. Hello and a very warm welcome to the King News Channel. Harry is well aware of the fact that his family always looks out for one another, and they were probably right, except they opened their big mouths and they started spewing all those venomous lies. Clearly they believed they would still get their allowance in spite of their nasty behavior, and they thought they were going to get security too, as well as all the perks that came along with their old job. Meghan and Harry probably believed that they would only need to give up the money from the sovereign grant when they walked away from the royal family. Now, because the sovereign grant represented only 5% of their income, they probably just assumed that their private business ventures would more than make up for the 5% loss. It looks like Meghan and Harry didn't count on the fact that they would need to pay for services like security. They just assumed they would be able to keep all the privileges of being a royal family member while abandoning their royal duties. The late Queen made it absolutely clear that Meghan and Harry would never be allowed to be half-out royals. Meghan and Harry saw how much money other famous people were able to make, and they wrongly assumed they could also exploit their fame and make as much money as these other people. Now I do not know who convinced them that there was a market for their brand, but boy did that person lie. Clearly Meghan and Harry severely overestimated how much interest there was in their story. They were burdened with the cost of keeping up their extensive lifestyle. So maybe now Meghan and Harry understand how good they had it when they were senior royals. If Charles doesn't subsidize their daily expenses, Meghan and Harry may have to go back to the UK for financial reasons. Now, under normal circumstances, that wouldn't be a problem. But after all the exposure of their fraudulent liar ways, who in the world would want to donate to their Archewell charities? I suspect they are broke right now, and they are increasingly desperate. I don't believe Harry could have much left of his inheritance. I think he is just waiting for his final chunk of money to come when he turns 40. Now, if Meghan Markle hangs around until then, it's gonna be gone. I don't think there are many people donating to their stupid charity, other than the few people who still want to be in good with them for whatever reason. So first of all, most people have never even heard of Archewell, especially when you compare it to an organization like the Cancer Society or Jude or the United Fund. And another thing is, many of the people who are involved in the type of philanthropy that Meghan and Harry are so desperate to get themselves involved with are all in a mutual kind of you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours type relationship. So if matching donations are not gotten from Meghan and Harry, it could be that their receipts are going to completely dry up. And I do not believe these $5 or $10 donations that Joe Lunchbucket might give are going to be enough to sustain their lifestyle. We've already noticed that Meghan has, how can we put it, a very loose relationship with reality. I think that she really believed she and Harry could be like the Obamas. She thought they could make $1 million off every single speech. And we all know Meghan does love to hear herself talk. As a woman of color, she could go on and on about how difficult it was hearing somebody refer to her mother as the N-word without actually having to face any racism firsthand. Well, then COVID-19 came along and ruined all of their plans. Meghan had dreams of making at least $100 million in that first year, while those dreams quickly fell apart. Harry was never independent. He never really did his own thing. If Harry had ever done anything for himself, like even buy some property, then at least he would have known a little bit more about the costs that had entailed. Maybe he could have developed some understanding of accounting and independence in and outs of everyday life. Most home buyers learned a lot from a basic budget. It is clear now that Harry was well paid, and most costs were covered for his travel, so he didn't learn anything about the real value of money. And that is why I do not like plastic money at all. All these government-sponsored banks are trying to convince us that we need to stop using cash, that we need to do things their way. Well, that's just so that they can play with our money. I think it's a huge mistake. Because how are you going to teach kids the value of the dollar when none of them have ever even touched $1? There are more debts constantly being piled on normal, everyday citizens. And it's way too easy to get into serious debt when it comes to those credit cards. And he just took everything for granted. Everything was handed to him, and he never faced any consequences. I do think the royal family could have done a better job helping Harry to understand money. They could have split his money into wages, like he could have gotten the cost of rent and the cost of insurance and education, etc. And then they could have given him a chunk of money and explained, okay, this has to pay for your food and your fuel and your transportation and clothing, etc. See, Harry could have learned some good habits if things had been done like that. Harry could have also learned that it is important to set some money aside because you never know what's going to happen. At 36 years old, Harry claimed that he felt trapped. I mean, what a load of BS. Harry was just so accustomed to living in the palace, not having to worry about finances, not having to worry about his behavior either. He was spoiled rotten. Harry had never lived on his own. He'd never had to budget. He had never had to pay his own way in life. And obviously Harry was pretty lazy, and we know he's not very intelligent either. And as for Meghan, before she married Harry, when she had to make her own money, she was quite the hoarder. She didn't buy a car. She did not even buy her own home. So no, I do not see Meghan as this independent feminist. She has always used men to pay her way. She has never had to be completely independent when it comes to finances. Her father paid for her existence for a long time. Even though she took it for granted, he paid for her expensive stuff. Meghan only had to worry about vanity purchases. Now those two were never financially independent, and that's why they waste so much of their money. They spend money like tomorrow will never come. And their entire lives they have used other people. As for Meghan, well, she only cares about what she wants. Stuff that she possibly can. She gave no respect to the money that Harry gave her in the royal family too, because I guess she thought, well, it's not my money I'm wasting. So it's really no wonder that she has such a twisted sense of value and money. Meghan has always just depended on men to pay her way. And clearly Meghan is not very good at managing money. She doesn't know how to do anything but use and abuse. She abuses money. She abuses other people. But she's got a lot of money now. However, it's never going to be enough. Because the more money that she takes from others, the higher her spending limit goes. I mean, there's that mortgage they're paying on that stupid home. Bought a more reasonable home for themselves. But no. They had to have the fanciest thing they could possibly get. So now they're in debt and interest rates are sky high. The cost of maintaining that home is astronomical too. But I don't think Meghan really worries about that because she just assumes she's going to come up with some new scam. If the money starts to run out, you know, her entire life she has used scams to get what she wants. I think she learned that from her mother Doria. And it looks like the way they spend money is similar too. They have no idea how to just live within their means. They've got a lot of debts. I mean, even to their PR people. They had debts that they couldn't pay, and that's why Sunshine Sachs didn't want anything to do with them anymore. Meghan is not quite as clever as she believes herself to be. I mean, she just attacks other people because, as we know, everything is plagiarized. Even her lies are completely plagiarized from other people. You can tell because you can look it up, and you can find the same story told by another person. We all know what she's about, so I don't know who she thinks she's fooling at this point. And I just hope that Charles leaves them to drown, because they are never going to grow up and learn a lesson. Why are they so incredibly immature? Why do they behave like small children? Well, I guess they don't understand the real world. The real world means you gotta work to make money. And it's not all about just spending every cent that you've got on stupid crap. I think actually Harry needs a lot less to live on than Meghan does. But both of them are so stuck on the security issue. It's just ridiculous. I cannot believe how ungrateful the two of them are. Really biting the hands that have fed them for such a long time. And you know what? In the real world, most of us are not criminals. We actually have to work to make money. How dare they criticize the palace for not giving them any more money when they stopped working? I guess Meghan just assumed that because Harry was getting money doing nothing. Said she could be in the same boat as him. Well, you know what? No, that's not true. There's nobody in the world who gets a bunch of money for doing absolutely nothing at all. They really do believe they know it all. Well, I guess they're in for quite the shock, and it doesn't seem like they even care make it. Just keeps on spending any money they get their hands on. They thought that when they ran away from the UK, they were really going to make their millions. But obviously they were wrong. And Harry believed that his father was going to continue to pay for absolutely everything. What a fool. And I don't know what is wrong with Harry, because William is not like that. But anyway, Harry has completely destroyed his relationship with his brother. I don't think William wants anything to do with Harry. As long as Meghan's still around, he's just gonna leave the two of them to their own devices. And it seems like the only thing Meghan knows is to hide behind devices. She's real comfortable attacking the royal family, as long as she doesn't have to do it face to face, right? Think about what they did on Netflix and what she did on her stupid podcast series. Now Harry did have some money because he trapped himself. And he had his late mother's money, but that has disappeared now. And Meghan is doing the begging from other people to help pay their debts. But you know what? She has never helped anybody. The only thing Meghan is willing to give anybody is a hard time. Meghan really thought that she knew all about being independent. Well, obviously not. She thought that keeping her PR people was the key to marriage by deceit. She assumed the palace was never going to be on to her. Oh, come on, Meghan. They knew all about you from the very beginning. After all, the palace is a firm and is not only a close family. Nothing comes to anybody without hard work. Or in the case of Meghan Markle, lying and grifting and begging.